Hey guys, Jeremy here. My beautiful wife Alicia.
Hi.
Today I want to talk to you guys about basically my testimony and life after meth. Um, it's been a year this month since I put down the pipe and decided to walk away from that world and walk away from the darkness that I had pretty much embellished my life into. And basically I want to share with you my story, so if we see if I can help anybody out there who's struggling to actually quit. Or, you know, my biggest thing was being able to think like you're gonna have no fun anymore. But let's just start back as a child. Grew up in Dallas. Grew up in a fairly large family. There were eight of us. Two passed away. So there were six of us growing up, and basically had a bad childhood. My dad worked a lot because he had so many kids, and one of my sister's boyfriends was always around and drank a lot, and me and him clashed. And so there would be pretty bad events that happened, and to the point where I got actually strangled and put through a wall as a child, and woke up and my mom was actually over me calling the cops on me. And I left the house that day and never came back. I started drugs early on, 13 years old. I started smoking pot and drinking with the guys. And if you guys can imagine, I was a rebel. Didn't listen to any authority. Didn't give a shit what you were going to tell me, because I was going to do it my way or the highway. And I got into drugs really bad. Cocaine to begin with. Years of that, abusing, and I did some very stupid things, you know, growing up into my adulthood. And I just want to say that there's hope out there at the end of the tunnel. If you guys are struggling to put down the pipe, struggling to stop doing cocaine, struggling to stop doing anything, basically, because there actually is a way out, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, during my years of drugs and alcohol, it's not worth it, guys. I mean, of course, when I first started doing meth, it felt great. I didn't need to get any sleep. I felt like my mind was alert to everything around me. I could do anything. I was invincible, powerful. Just felt like I was on top of the world. And you know, I landed myself in jail many times, doing stupid shit, growing up, and then got married. In 2013, I ended up getting divorced. My mom died, sold my house, and quit my job all in the same month. And my life just snowballed into a fucking nightmare of hell. And staying with friends and screwing them over, stealing from friends, stealing from businesses. I did so many bad things on meth. It was unfucking believable. I don't know how I'm still here today. And towards the end, I was basically just a criminal. Basically, I mean, I even drove around in my vehicle that I hadn't registered for years. And instead of the guys taking me to jail every time I got pulled over, they would give me like, I think, $1,800 tickets, which added up to like over 10 grand. And it was just a brick wall coming. And I didn't see it, or I didn't pay attention to it, because my mind was so mixed up in the drugs that it was just darkness. I'll tell you, even though drugs makes you feel like, or especially for me, meth made me feel like I was on top of the world and super energetic. But it takes your soul and kind of deadens it. Basically, it takes your soul. I mean, there was times when I wouldn't sleep for weeks. I mean,
6 weeks, folks. One time he was awake for 6 weeks. I know that sounds like impossible. The human body cannot do that. But I have never done drugs in my life. I do not.
Thank God for that.
Maybe one drink, alcoholic amaretto sour a year. I'm not a drinker. I've never done drugs. I don't smoke pot. I just work. I do not do any type of mind-altering drugs. And so I was fully alert and aware of, and when he says he felt energetic, maybe that was before I came along. I never saw him be energetic really until our honeymoon in January, February this year is when I really first saw him become alive. But that's not discounting his story. Maybe he felt alive. Maybe it was in the beginning.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with when you saw it is because I was sick and coming out of being sick or whatever. But
well, I mean when I first met you.
When I first started doing meth, it gave you superpowers, basically. I felt alive. I didn't need to sleep. And like I said, I could take apart a TV, put it back together. Just so many different things. It was just retarded.
Yeah,
I even got a vehicle one time and painted the motherfucker 5 times in my garage. And I'm talking like sanded it down, painted it, didn't like the color, sanded it down, painted it, didn't like the color. It just stupid shit.
A lot of stories we could tell.
But
he really did basically stay awake for 6 weeks. There might have been a little like where you're head bobbing, sitting in a chair, catnapping for 5 minutes, and then he'd have nightmares. I mean, horrific nightmares and wake up. But going to bed and getting and sleeping, I never knew this man to even take his clothes off and get under the sheets and the blankets. I feel like I kind of taught him to do that in a way because when I first met him, he wouldn't even take his clothes off, his shoes off. He wouldn't get under the covers.
I would basically just fall backwards into the bed if I had to go to sleep.
That's what it took. And then you couldn't get him to wake up, and so
I would get mad at her because I would say wake me up in 30 minutes, and there's no possible way you could do that. So
I have a unique perspective because I was the girlfriend, and then you were clean by the time you got engaged. But as the girlfriend, I mean, and the partner, I have probably thousands of stories that I was telling Jeremy today. He probably doesn't remember because they're fresh in my mind, like they happened yesterday. And they're so traumatizing, but he probably doesn't even remember them, So if you're a spouse or a girlfriend, a boy, partner or whatever of an addict, I can understand because I've never done drugs, and like I said, if I have one drink a year, that's probably a heavy year of drinking for me, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I have 1 or 2, that's a heavy year for me. I just don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good, and the work that I do, I can't do that kind of stuff. It's not energetically good. So, but from the first time I saw him, I just knew we were soul bonded and soul connected, and I just loved him so much.
Thanks, babe.
And I'm so proud of him because if you stay tuned to the channel, you're going to hear our stories. But we've been through a lot, and it has not been easy to get to this point. It has not been easy at all. I'm talking about fighting demons. I'm talking about praying, holy water. I'm talking about doing a whole lot of stuff that nobody knows I did to save his soul, because drugs will take your soul. They do. The dark side is involved with drugs. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But I know what I've had to do to save this man's life and to save his soul. And he's done the hard work as well. An addict has to save themselves. But I knew from the time that I met him that I was in his life to save him. And I just love him so much. He's just I'm just so proud of you.
God bless you, babe. Basically, if you're struggling right now to get clean or whatever the case might be, or if you're thinking about trying meth, don't try it. Don't try cocaine and meth, any of that shit, because once you do, your mind changes from that point on, and you think, oh, you can handle it, and you feel great, superpower. Bullshit. There was countless many times I would wake up angry at myself because I would go to bed taking as many drugs as I possibly could so that I would not wake up. It got to be that dark.
It was hard.
I just didn't want to be, I didn't want to be alive anymore. I woke up in psych wards, and they would tell me, my mom had just come to get me, and this is still when I was a teenager. My mom was coming where she had come to get me, and my eyes were open, but I never even knew she was there. I had mutilated my arm just with a knife and have no fucking recollection of why. I've woken up bloody. I've destroyed my whole house before. I've done so many bad things to people, and your mind doesn't comprehend what's going on. I mean, it's just so, it's another world. It's not even you.
That's how I felt. I always felt he was off in another world, like he wasn't ever present.
I mean, Christ, I would wake up, and before I would even put my feet on the ground, I would find my pipe in my bed where I passed out next to me or on my nightstand, and I would grab it and get high before I even got out of the bed. I would spend countless hours in the bathroom and smoking meth. And
sometimes 6 hours.
Yeah. Just
3 or 4 times a day.
Just it got so bad. I got to probably about $200 to $300 worth a day habit. Stupid, just retarded.
And then I would knock on the door and say, "Babe, I just want to spend time with you," and he would scream and yell and threaten to break up with me. And I was like,
I don't know why. I don't know why she stayed with me.
What in the? I just want to spend time with you. You've been in the bathroom like 16 hours today. Are you okay? You know. It's just hard. It's hard on both people. I think I have my perspective, he has his, and I'm not an addict, so I can't fully understand. He probably can't fully understand my perspective, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. You have to get through it. And we didn't have professional help to get you clean.
Mm-mm.
We did it on our own.
I got to the point where it was so bad that we ended up living in a hotel for the last year I was in Dallas, spending over $3,000 a month just in rent for a freaking hotel. And I don't know, I don't remember much of that because I was so bad and deep into drugs then that I was on the verge of death. I was taking other pills along with the meth. I did some fentanyl, and the fentanyl would not put me to sleep. It would put me into a demon mode. And when I say demon mode, you're talking to a person now that's Jeremy, but there was somebody else inside me that I do not know, and he was not a good person at all. I ran from the cops. I've done so much stupid shit. I do not know how I'm still here. My biggest thing for me was, you know, I've always liked partying. If you know the band Motley Crue, I've always been that person. I've always been the hell-raising rebel that wanted to do more than everybody and basically party till the end. And you know, I partied with a lot of people in my life, and you know, people would move on and go on with their lives. I never left the party. I did that party day one, and I fucking partied to 50. Basically, and there was probably like less than a month from the age of 13 to 50, less than a month that I spent sober in my life. I mean, I partied every single day of my life. I held jobs down and still was on drugs secretly. I'm sure people knew, and I'm not proud of any of that, but an addict's an addict. And towards the end of that year in Dallas, we were in the hotel, and it was right after Christmas, and I think I took some fentanyl pills or something.
I thought he was gonna die. Was it New Year's Eve? I
New
thought
Year's
he was
Eve.
gonna die. I was like, I prayed all night long.
And
I've stayed awake many a nights praying that he didn't die.
I think I woke up. She went to get her hair done, or her nails done, or something. And I woke up, and I was like, God. And I hadn't talked to God in forever. I was like, man, I'm lost here, bro. I didn't have any words, but basically I didn't have to speak to him. He could hear me, and he was showing me visions of like if you're in a room, and basically there's darkness all around, like a square. That square was like big, and it was just slowly getting darker and darker and darker. And I felt like that was it. If I didn't leave like in that hotel room get out of Texas, get away from people. That was it. Whether it be by my own hand or I was going to overdose, I knew my time was near. And I was sick. I had high blood pressure. I wasn't telling the doctor what was going on with me, so he put me on 50,000 pills, high blood pressure medication, blood thinners.
Yeah.
Tons
All
of
kinds
shit.
stuff, cholesterol.
So I mean, I went from no medication ever, never going to the doctor. So I went to the doctor one time and I had 10 medications. So it was an ass kicker. And so we got to Denver.
Yeah, I came home and you're like, "Can we leave?" And I had kind of asked
Yeah.
I had been asking him for almost since we met. Like I had said, I remember when we first were together, I'll pay for it. I'll get you out of here, but you have to be willing to go. If you're willing to go, will you get out of here with me? And it took a year and a half, probably more than a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half before he was ready to go. And I just waited patiently. It took a lot of patience. It took a whole lot of love. If you don't love somebody, there is no way in God's green earth you can stick by an addict. You got to really love them deep in your soul. Because if you don't,
Because the addict at that point in time does not love himself. So
you will not be able to withstand it. People say, "How did you get through it?" Love, man, deep love. And I always know my missions, and I always know what I'm here on planet Earth to do. And I knew that we were supposed to be together, and I could see the end result. I knew that he would get clean. I knew that he would do what he needed to do, but it would be a very, very, very long road. But we would get through it. So that just kept me going, as well as friends. But that January of 24, he said, I think I came home from getting my lashes done or something. And he's like, "Can we go?" And I was like, "Are you ready? Like, you're ready to go?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Get up and get dressed and let's pack our suitcases."
I mean, it was like a 2-day thing, and we were fucking gone.
We were gone. He's like, "Really? We can leave?"
I put all my shit in storage.
He's like, "You're going to pay?" I'm like, "I've been paying." I mean, I was paying for most everything. So I'm like, "Yeah, get up and get dressed. Let's pack up. Let's go." He's like, "Really? We're going to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to go." It just took like a year and a half for you to get ready to that point to be able to go. And you can't pressure. You just have to put it out there. And then when they're ready, they'll do it. But it took a long time for him to be ready to go. And I think had we not left, you might be dead.
I'd know for a fact I'd be dead. So we get to Denver. I still had some ties back here to things. I had left my truck here. So I flew back. Was still partying a little bit. And even though I left, I hadn't made that complete decision to cut it all off yet. I even got FedEx. I even FedExed overnight. I had someone FedEx me overnight some meth when I was in Colorado for my last time to do it, and that was it. That was the last shipment I ever got. And when that was gone, I pretty much went to bed. I was scared when I was in that bed because I was like, I think I was in there for a couple months, right?
Yeah, pretty much 2 months.
2 months, I'd get up, walk the dog, and just be like, bah. Just total fucking asshole dick. And made her dinner and then go right back to sleep. And just, I was smoking weed. And
Died.
Yeah. I basically was getting weed from a dispensary in Colorado because it was legal. And I was like, well, how bad could it be? I quit meth. And they don't make weed like they used to, man. Because I was at a restaurant in Denver and went to the car to take a hit of weed. Came back, looked at her, and said, "Something's wrong. I think I fucked up." Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, I started foaming at the mouth. My eyes went back in the back of my head. I stopped breathing.
It was scary.
Shit myself, pissed myself, and stopped breathing for about 14 minutes. I don't have any recollection of what happened when that went on. All I know is I woke up surrounded by 11 paramedics and 1 cop from Denver, and they were all asking me. They were shaving my chest, getting ready to shock me, and I was like lost.
I remember the police officer was like, Is you were like, what are all these paramedics here? I don't need any medical help. I'm like, oh hell yes you do. Listen, yes you do. The cop, you looked at the cop and you're like, I don't need. The cop was like, sir, yes you do, and you are getting medical
Yeah, I
help.
totally freaked out. But I mean, you wake up and you're like, what the fuck's going on, man? Why is all these people around me?
A guy that was eating in the restaurant came out, and he's the one who called the paramedics for me, and he was like, oh yes, this man needs medical help. He was in bad shape. He died at that restaurant. His eyes were all the way back in his head. He was foaming. It was not him. There was like a demon or something. There was something very dark and very bad that was, and I just prayed. I was beating him on the back like, no, you're not leaving me. No, you're not doing this to me. You get back in your body and you fight, fight, fight. And I was asking the angels, get rid of this demon, get it out. At that time he was my boyfriend, bring him back, and you did wake up, but there were 11 paramedics. I know it sounds like a lot, but there weren't there?
Mm-hmm. I count them like, what the fuck is going
and
on?
one cop, yeah.
Yeah. I spent the next couple of days walking around Denver, wondering if you guys ever seen the movie Sixth Sense, I was wondering if I was really alive or I was already dead, because everything seemed so different after that. I felt different. It was just a very strange feeling. So to me, I needed to break free from being able to get the shit delivered to me, whatever the case might be. I told her we were going to Puerto Vallarta, because she always talked about Puerto Vallarta. I was like, hell no, we're never going to Puerto Vallarta.
I had lived here before.
Forget that bullshit. And what do you know? I decided to come here just for the main fact that I wasn't going to be able to get drugs delivered. I know people are going, what, you went to Mexico?
To get clean.
To get clean? Because isn't that where the cartel's at? Yes. The cartel's everywhere. Drugs are everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at or who you're around. But I didn't know anybody here. Did I not have cab drivers fucking running after me down here going, hey man, we got some cocaine for you or whatever? Yes.
It was hard when we first got
It was
here.
very hard. Everybody, I guess I had that look that I partied my ass off or something, like Slash or somebody, I don't know. And people were like, man, we got some shit for you, man. Come here, SA. Just whatever. But I got through it. I'm not going to lie. If you've done drugs for a very long time, it's a bitch getting sober. And you're going to go through some very hard days. But you got to keep going, because there is a point where you get to where you feel the body starting to heal itself again. You start feeling like you're alive again. You wake up in the mornings and you can breathe again. You don't feel shitty. You don't feel irritated. You don't feel tired. It comes back, people. I mean, I don't know.
I've watched your growth. I've really witnessed him. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But I could have my own testimonies about watching him get past it. But he's done an amazing job and so much growth over the past year. But it has been a journey through hell at many times. You'll have to do a video on the psychosis. And I'll have to share some of my stories about what happened when he would go into psychosis. I mean, I said this already, if you don't really love someone deeply, you ain't to stick around for that shit, because that is some deep, bad stuff that is scary, and you feel you may get killed. It is scary as hell. So
I'm sure she's going to tell you that. My ex-wife will tell you that. Some of my ex-girlfriends will tell you
scary.
that. There's another side of me that comes out when I get fucking angry, and if I'm on drugs, it's not good. It's very destructive and very deadly.
But I've seen you grow. I've seen so much growth in him this year. I'm so proud of him. He's come a long ways. He is alive. I just seen tremendous growth in you. So it's exciting to watch him come alive and live like a human being, because I think you're learning to live right now.
Yeah.
I feel like he's learning to live as a human being.
I mean, basically, I went from childhood to a blur. And at 50, I got sober, got slapped in the face with some cancer, lucky to cancer. And I'm learning how to live as a normal, mind thinking clearly person, if that makes sense.
And you're turning into a great husband.
Everybody who's met me during those years of 13 to 50, you probably didn't even know the real me, because I was a crazy bastard. What I was going to say is basically, I don't know, the biggest thing is your mind's going to tell you that you can't have fun without smoking meth or doing cocaine. Your mind's going to tell you that you don't have the energy to do it, or you got to stay up late to do something and you need a little bit extra boost. It's a bunch of bullshit, because once you start that shit, you're always fucking tired. You're always going to be dependent on it. And it's one hell of a son of a bitch to get off of it. It's like the devil's got his claws in you, and they don't want to let go. They're going to do everything they can to trigger you, to make you go back and hit that pipe again. They're going to make you trigger again to forget everybody else and do whatever you need to do to get that next fix. Don't do it. If you are on it, there's hope. Don't live by that little mind and the little sound in the back of your head telling you, oh, I just need a little bit to get me by, or don't do it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You start feeling like you once did before. It's been so long for me. It's kind of new for me. So I'm amazed by how great I feel right now.
And we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not saying it's easy for everybody to do by themselves either.
if you need rehab, go to rehab. We didn't have the money for that, and he didn't have insurance for that. So.
And I wasn't the type of person. I've been to rehab at 15. I'm not the type of person that can go to
You weren't
rehab.
going to go to rehab. So we did it ourselves at home, just him and I in Colorado. But if you need that support, you should definitely go to rehab, right? We're not telling people not to go to rehab. But if you don't have the money for it, it can be done. If you have a support person that's going to help pay the bills and support you and love you, it could be a parent, a sibling, a friend.
Even if you don't, it's worth
You
it.
can still do
You
it.
got to break free from that shit, man. I've lost a lot of good friends from shit that I've done to them on the shit. I've lost a lot of good friends to dying from being on the shit. I've lost many jobs because of it. It ain't worth it. There's life afterward, man. And I wish I could go back in time and not go through it, but I'm happy I was able to do it, so that now I can lead a different life, and maybe I can help somebody get to where they feel good again. Nothing about drugs is good. I still drink beer. You know, I don't get drunk anymore. I have a couple beers. I still smoke a little bit of marijuana every once in a while just to relieve my stress, but I'm aiming to get off everything. So, you guys have any questions for me? Anybody out there, share this video.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, please. But I'm just trying to make it easier for people who feel like they're cornered in a hole and they have no way out, because I don't give a damn what it is. It's worth it to get out of the nightmare that you're living in. And you don't see that nightmare until you step aside and look back on yourself. There is no reason, except for God and Leisha, why I'm alive today. I wouldn't be here. So I don't want you to think that, you know, I've been doing it this long. I've lost teeth because of it. I mean,
You're going through teeth problems right now.
It is not something you ever want to do.
You can do
There's nothing good out of it. Nothing. It puts you in the darkest place you could ever imagine, and you don't even see it when you're going through it, because you think everything's great.
I didn't see anything great either. Like, I've never done drugs. Like I said, I've had 1 or 2 drinks a year. That's a heavier drinking for me. So it's not my lifestyle to do that, to live like that. And I was like, what in the actual hell is going on here? But my love for him was so great. I just, you know, you stick in there, and you just know when you need to stick in there with someone because you love them. And he told me not long ago, I'm glad you could see the end result of me getting clean, because I couldn't see it, but I could always see he would get past this. So
I couldn't.
Never give up. You can do it. Like I said, we did it at home, just him and I. It was not easy. And maybe getting professional help would be easier. I don't know, because we didn't do it that way.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works
just
for you.
give it a try. I mean,
Right.
because seriously, it's not worth it going through what I had to go through.
No,
And hopefully you can learn by hearing this. And I'm going to have other topics on this. I just wanted to give kind of my testimony, my background of how I got from there to here.
for your 1 year.
Yeah, my 1 year anniversary of getting off that evil shit, and I will never go back to it. It pops in my head, but I've got to the point now where I don't want that feeling. There's nothing I want to do to stay up. I love my sleep now.
Does.
I went from
He has
6
like a
weeks of
regular
sleeping.
schedule.
I would take 6 weeks to stay awake and whatever. To I love my sleep.
He does love his sleep now.
I get at least 8 hours a
He goes to
night.
sleep early, gets up early.
I feel great.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to watch his transformation.
In the words of one of our friends, Cindy, it's a damn mess.
Shout out to Cindy for all of her support.
Shout out to all my friends. The ones I lost, Jason. The ones I've done wrong, Robert and Jackie.
I had a sister-in-law that passed of a drug overdose too, so this is kind of in honor of her too. My first husband, my kid's aunt, she died of a drug overdose just a few days out of drug rehab, from what I remember, and she was in her early 40s. I think she was in her early 40s, not that old, and so she left 2 sons behind. So I don't know. Shout out to Lori in heaven.
Shout out to Mike and Mike for both, turning your lives around. Shout out to everybody in my life for still putting up with me, because I put everybody I know through a lot of hell. Shout out to my ex-wife Jennifer for all the bad stuff I did to her. Shout out to everybody. Family, sisters, brothers, they've seen the worst of me. And, I just read something, a friend of mine, David, lost his son the other day. He's a good friend of mine I used to work with, to drugs. Addiction is a bad thing, and it's hard to do on your own. It's easy if you got some support, but please talk to God, talk to a friend, whatever you need to do. Try to change your life, because even though you don't see it, when you look down that hole, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Guys, I appreciate you joining me today, and looking forward to my next video. Probably going to do something on holistic medicine.
Oh yeah, that's really saved his life. Huge difference.
Glaucoma, check it out.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, right. Again, yeah, bullshit, because I'm not a Dr. Levin person. And I got blown away again. So that's coming up next. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Like, share, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.